Good day. My name is Zamachongo Tladi, and I am the acting CEO of the South African Maritime Safety Authority. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Sailor Society for the invitation to participate at such an important event. Greetings to all of the participants today from the maritime administrations, the industry, the welfare community, the maritime school, the maritime student and cadets who are our future seafarers. Last but not least, the rest of the participants who have tuned in from the continent and the rest of the world. The importance of well-being and welfare to ensure a bright future in the maritime industry is an interesting and a relevant topic at this time. Seafaring as a career has been under threat long before the COVID-19 pandemic came into the picture. Young people from developed states have long stopped considering a career at sea as an option, mainly due to the options that are available to them. Perhaps in the future, it will not just be the developed countries that is affected, but the rest of the world. Technology and the internet are also now more easily accessible, even in the so-called developing and underdeveloped worlds. The generation of YouTube videos and social media is reluctant to leave their comfort zone and join and take up jobs at the sea. This generation is used to instant communication, which is currently not readily available at sea. Just a few years ago, the industry faced the threat of piracy, which also made a career at sea seem very risky. Just when we thought the challenges had been contained, COVID-19 threw us a curveball. It is widely reported that about 400,000 seafarers were stuck on board and being forced to work way beyond their contracted periods. They were unable to go home due to the lockdown regimes that were imposed around the world. This resulted in many cases of mental health reported as seafarers struggled to cope with being at sea for extended periods, whilst also worried about their family's well-being. This surely got many seafarers and potential seafarers questioning if this was the right career for them. Africa is a resource-rich continent. Ships crisscross the ocean to load these resources destined for resource-hungry destinations such as your Europe, Asia, and the United States. However, Africa remains a continent struggling with poverty and unemployment. Sadly, Africa also remains a spectator when it comes to ownership and manning of these ships. A career at sea remains highly attractive for Africans, offering salaries in much needed foreign currencies. The job opportunities at sea has a potential of being a savior to our unemployment problems. However, Africa as a market for seafaring remains largely untapped and lags behind Asia and Europe. There are many challenges that are faced by Africa when it comes to taking up the opportunity presented by the blue ocean. Chief amongst them is the low levels of tonnage registered under African flags, if we exclude Liberia. This has proven a challenge in securing training berth for cadetship and creating seafarer jobs. Ship owners are reluctant to offer training berth when they can get experienced seafarers elsewhere. Internationally, countries with a significant tonnage under their flags are able to impose rules, allowing for level of manning that ensures that the nationalities are employed on board, thus making sure cadetship programs is supported. The Seafarer Workforce Report, published in 2021 by BIMCO and ICS, reported that 1.89 million seafarers are currently operating over 74,000 vessels globally in the global merchant fleet. The new report also highlights a shortage of 26,240 STCW certified officers, indicating that the demand for seafarers in 2021 has outpaced supply. The report further warns that there is a risk of facing a shortage of 89,510 officers in 2026 if the status quo should remain. There is a significant improvement when we compare the result to that of the report of 2015. The report urged the industry to significantly increase training and recruitment levels if it is to avoid serious shortage in 2026. This is an opportunity for the continent to raise its hand and become the new manning frontier for the shipping world and produce officers of high quality. It is very difficult to estimate the number of African seafarers currently making up the 1.89 million seafaring force, as information and statistics in the continent is not easily and readily available. However, we can assume that we have barely scratched the surface when it comes to the potential of the continent as a supplier of seafarers. Our contribution statistically is currently negligent. The revised African Maritime Charter speaks the right language when it comes to seafaring job creation and seafarers' welfare. However, implementation by the African Union member states seems to be very slow. Article 3 of the revised African Maritime Charter reads as follows: promoting the employment of seafarers, decent work conditions, and training of seafarers. Article 8 reads, Article 8 reads, parties should promote the securing of training berth and opportunities for African seafarers on African-owned vessels and on foreign-owned vessels. And Article 38 reads, state parties further agree to harmonize, coordinate, and cooperate in the implementation of measures to improve the lives and the working conditions of seafarers and port employees within a clear defined national, regional, and international framework. The challenges that we face as a continent is not just to get our young people interested in a career at sea. The next challenge is keeping those that are already at sea interested and ensuring long career by supporting them. Seafarer wellness and well-being has never been so critical as it is now. Seafaring work conditions have been getting more and more strenuous over the years. There are more regulations that the crew on board the vessels have to contain to. There's been many studies over the years trying to gauge the state of welfare of seafarers. A 2019 Yale survey commissioned by the ITF Seafarers Trust identified potential dangerous levels of depression, anxiety, suicide risk amongst seafarers. According to the survey, factors associated with the feeling of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts were sampling as a few items as a result of a lack of adequate training, uncaring work environment, example, your non-caring company cultures, exposure to violence or threat to violence. Another research conducted by Cardiff University, modified in 2019, supported earlier concerns about seafarer welfare. The following were the factors predisposing seafarers to mental illness: isolation, loneliness, discrimination, boredom, lack of internet accessibility, poor relations on board, lack of shore leave, exhaustion, separation from family, spending long periods away from home. These are the challenges that all of us, the IMO, the ILO, and the maritime administrators, ship owners, seafarer organization, and the welfare community need to tackle. It is also a challenge that the maritime administrators need to prioritize and come with interventions on how to resolve them. In South Africa, bringing it home, in South Africa, we have seen an increase in the number of bullying and harassment cases reported by our seafarers, as well as our foreign seafarers in our ports. There's also been cases of sexual harassment reported mainly against women. As the South African Maritime Safety Authority, we have taken steps to pay more attention to our seafarer welfare program. Our program covers, amongst others, mental health support, help desk, bullying and harassment, education and support, programs on gender-based violence, which we will be launching later on this year. We encourage all maritime school and manning organization, shipping companies to adopt these programs and develop policies that protect our seafarers, especially the new entrants and women that are mostly vulnerable. It is important that the education and the wellness starts at maritime school and during inductions at manning organizations. When our cadets step on board, they must be equipped to deal with these challenges and must be aware on how to handle them and report the cases and where to look for support. In conclusion, if we want to ensure a bright future for Africa when it comes to seafaring, we need to take care and prioritize the well-being and the welfare of our seafarers. There will be no bright future without wellness and welfare. I thank you.